Hello, my name is Andrea Modi, and welcome to my presentation. Today's presentation will summarize my literature review of dynamic warm-ups. The warm-up is the activity that takes place before the sport-specific activity begins. The expectation at a D1 level would be a structured warm-up performed at the beginning of each practice, led by the strength and conditioning coach that both warms and loosens up the body and includes components of stability, strength, flexibility, and cardio. The reality is that some coaches are pretty old-fashioned. Some might call a lap around the field a warm-up or tell their team to warm up on their own. I currently work as an athletic trainer in the D1 collegiate sports setting and have been watching teams warm up for about 6 years now, and I've seen it all. As an athletic trainer, it is my job to be educated on how a structured dynamic warm-up could potentially prevent injury and lost playing time for my athletes and to make these advantages known to coaches. I'm an advocate and can and should aid in implementation of such warm-ups when they are lacking. The Peacock question used to guide this review was, does the use of a neuromuscular dynamic warm-up routine in athletics lead to reduced injury rates throughout a season compared to teams who do not use structured warm-up routines or whom use no warm-up routines? In a search for articles, the terms listed on the slide were used to find relevant articles. I also scanned the reference list of articles I found to look for other relevant material. The purpose of the study is to identify whether or not neuromuscular dynamic warm-up routines are successful in preventing injuries. The purpose of the study is also to identify evidence-based strategies for implementation of such routines for effective outcomes. The three major themes found in the literature were injury prevention, duration, and delivery method. The first theme is injury prevention. In a study of 60 D1 and D2 collegiate men's soccer teams, it was found that the injury rate for the intervention group was 8.09 per 1,000 athletic events, compared to 15.04 per 1,000 athletic events in the control group. Time lost decreased by 28.6%. In a study of 182 male collegiate soccer players, the control group had a 3.62 injury rate, while the FIFA 11 intervention group had a 2.27 injury rate, and the FIFA 11 Plus group had a 2.24 injury rate, the FIFA programs being popular soccer warm-up routines. In the third study, they looked at elite male basketball players. The intervention group had 0.95 injury rate per 1,000 athletic events, while the control group had 2.16 per 1,000 athletic events. This study is important because there are a few studies looking at sports besides soccer. And the fourth study was the original FIFA 11 study. They found a reduction in severe and overuse injuries and overall female soccer injuries for girls aged 13 to 17. The second theme was duration. In a study of 1,435 female collegiate soccer players, an intervention was performed 3 times a week during in-season play, the intervention being a dynamic warm-up. The non-contact ACL injury rate was 3.3 times lower than the control group, and they also had no ACL injuries during practice compared to the control group who had 6. In a study of a 3-month versus 9-month implementation, the 9-month group was able to maintain functional improvements 3 months after ending the program. Both groups had lower injury rates, and both groups showed improvements, but it is important to note that the longer duration program was able to maintain their improvements. The take-home here is that more research is needed to determine the most effective duration for programs and if duration can influence other types of lower body injuries. There is also more research needed regarding how long each session should last. The third theme was delivery and implementation. In a study of 482 amateur male soccer players, the coach-controlled injury prevention program had a 66% reduction in re-injury rate compared to the control group who was not supervised. In a study of a supervised FIFA 11 Plus implementation versus unsupervised FIFA 11 Plus implementation, The supervised group showed improvements in single leg balance, anterior star excursion balance test, but also a decrease in the 2-leg jump test. This group also had better consistency with the program. Another study looked at how the FIFA 11 Plus program was disseminated. A control group visited a website unsupervised to receive the information. The first intervention group used a coach-focused workshop and supervision of a physical therapist while the team performed the FIFA 11 Plus program. The second intervention group used a coach-focused workshop but no supervision. The two workshop groups had a 57% lower risk of injury and higher compliance with the program. It was found that there is no need for supervision of a physical therapist, as it did not create a significant difference. The take-home here is that the program should be supervised by some staff member, and said staff members should be given educational materials or participate in an educational workshop or course. To answer the PCOT question, we can now see that a majority of research results show that structured dynamic warm-ups, such as or similar to the FIFA warm-up programs, can reduce and prevent lower body injuries in soccer and basketball players. Research suggests higher compliance and supervision lead to improved outcomes, but exact parameters for duration do not exist currently. Research also suggests that proper information dissemination and education of those leading the warm-up leads to better outcomes. For future research, we need to look at the use of dynamic warm-ups in other sports such as football, softball, baseball, and more, and determine whether the FIFA 11 Plus is useful in any other sport arenas besides soccer. More research is also needed regarding the number of times the program should be performed, over how long of a period, and how long each session should be. More research is also needed to determine proper dynamic warm-ups for upper body sports. Lastly, future research should look at how to involve an athletic trainer in implementing dynamic warm-up strategies. Biblical integration. In 1 Corinthians 9:26-27 says, "So I do not run aimlessly, I do not box as one beating the air, but I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others I myself should be disqualified. Both spiritually and physically, we should not train ourselves aimlessly, but with a kingdom-driven purpose." The Bible talks of preparing for what is to come and to have faith that God is doing a good work. A warm-up may seem to be a nuisance or waste of time, but it has purpose and can prevent injury and loss of playing time in the same way that having faith the size of a mustard seed can move mountains. In Proverbs 10:17 it says, "Whoever heeds instruction is on the path to life, but he who rejects reproof leads others astray." Evidence-based practice is often easier to read than it is to implement. We are advocates and must raise our voice to protect those we care for. To end, I will quote Benjamin Franklin in saying, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." Thank you for listening. Here are my references.